All right, welcome to Life Extension Live. I'm Dr. Mike, and I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Crystal Gossert. And today's show, we're going to talk about something that I think as a clinician is extremely important, but no one talks about it. People don't admit they have a problem with it, and it's hearing problems or hearing loss. I'm convinced, Dr. Crystal, if you ask people to list out their top 10 diseases they're worried about or something, right? I bet you hearing loss isn't going to be on that list.
What was that, Dr. Mike?
Stop, don't do that was her little joke. Ha, 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 ha. All right, yeah, so hearing loss, as a matter of fact, May is, what is it, the National Hearing and Speech Month?
Yes, Better Hearing and Speech Month. Better
Hearing and Speech Month, and so we're going to talk about a little bit, what is hearing? We're going to talk a little bit about how it works. And that the real issue when we have hearing problems is really about the ear itself, but even the brain, right?
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So on today's show, here's what we're going to do. You ready? On today's show, we're going to talk about 3 lab markers related to hearing, 3 nutrients to support hearing, 5 questions to help identify your risk of a hearing problem, and then lifestyle strategies to preserve hearing. So here's where we're going to start.
Okay.
Basic rundown of how hearing works, right?
I think that's a good start,
Give
Dr.
us your
Mike.
Cliff Note level, speech.
Yes, well, I think about a drum set, Dr. Mike. In some weird way, I think about when you hit that drum vibrates.
Yeah. Okay.
And so then it makes me think about the ear.
There's a drum.
drums.
There's a drum. Look at the dog. That's funny.
And so your eardrum vibrates. So it's that vibration, that sound that then transmit into nerve signals.
Right.
And goes to your brain.
Yeah. Now we have some pictures of this, right?
Yes, we do.
Hannah, do you have those pictures? There we go. So
there it is.
Yeah. So there's kind of the sound waves coming in.
Boom. You see that drum?
Yes, that's a good drum. This is the picture I wanted to spend just a little time on real quick. So in the inner part of the ear, in this thing called the cochlea, right? Mm-hmm. You basically have these nerve cells that have hairs on them.
Yes.
That's what it is. And it's those hairs that are picking up that drum vibration.
That's right. And those hairs, whenever you're exposed to really loud sound, you can see on the left the healthy hair cells. On the right, those are cells where those cells have just been
they look
shaken
sad.
And damaged
they
from loud noise. And it caused those cells to just be excited. Lots of free radicals are produced because the cells are more metabolically active.
Like they're almost going too much, right?
Yes,
yeah.
in overdrive, and then that damages those hair cells.
Right. So, again, I know for a fact that, in clinical medicine, this is a bigger issue than what you read about, right? Mm-hmm. Because, when I was practicing medicine, often we would find out through different things that somebody has a hearing problem. They wouldn't offer it up.
Well, here's the big question, Dr. Mike. Do you test in the medical setting?
Not anymore.
Who's testing
Not anymore.
the hearing?
When I was in medical school, we learned how to do the hearing test, and there's different little tools you can use.
Okay.
And I think that was something I did in residency maybe 5 times, and then once I got out, no one had those tools. So no, we're not testing hearing. Usually we find out because the spouse or a brother, a sister who's there in the room with them will say something. Oh, by the way, he can't hear anything.
Oh,
yeah.
I've had that conversation.
Probably start some fights.
I know.
Yeah. All right, so let's go. So how does somebody know? We have an audience that's knowledgeable. They want to protect their health, right?
Yes.
So we're going to talk about some labs, right?
Right.
So let's get into those markers we were talking about.
Yes, but first, I think the very first step is ask your doctor to test your hearing. That's very simple. Ask your doctor, hey doc, will you check my hearing?
They may not.
Simple.
They might say no because they forgot how to do it.
Uh-oh. But doctors, if you're watching, brush up on that skill, please.
Right. That's a good point, though. Test
but
my
then
hearing.
now the lab markers, and these are markers that kind of correlate to hearing loss.
Yeah.
So you want to
get
right
into it. I'm
into
waiting for
our
you to teach
first
us.
marker is homocysteine.
Yeah. Homocysteine, I think most people, when they see that, they think cardiovascular,
Yes.
probably. But how does this link then to hearing?
Yeah, so first let's talk about what homocysteine is. It is an amino acid. So whenever you eat a protein or any type of protein, amino acids, the building blocks of protein, one amino acid in particular, methionine, starts getting broken down, and homocysteine is created in that process of the methionine being metabolized. Now, homocysteine in and of itself is not a bad thing, but when you don't have proper B vitamins, sometimes that homocysteine starts to build up.
Yeah, excess.
And excess homocysteine can damage blood vessels.
Right.
And so that's what we think is going on whenever we start looking at hearing issues.
Right. So again, this is something if you test, right? Very simple test. Life Extension offers it. Your doctor probably can offer it. However, if it's high, there's things we can do about it, right? There's things we can now start to mitigate that to help bring that down, like some good B vitamins.
Folate, B6, B12, those are all great for helping to get that homocysteine in an optimal level. The one thing to just think about is the levels that you'll see on your lab test. If you get your doctor to test your homocysteine, they are a little high.
Yeah,
you know, we kind of like to see the homocysteine a little bit lower, below 12, ideally below 8.
Below 8 is what we would call optimal.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Just so keep that in mind. Your doctor may look at a 12, 13, 14 and think you're fine. That might be an indication that there's some hearing issues going on. Or if you are having hearing issues and your homocysteine's that high, probably want to at least get on some B.
Right, because if the homocysteine's high, the idea is that it is damaging your hearing.
Right. Hey, don't forget, if you're watching this live right now, Dr. Crystal has her phone.
I'm looking for your questions.
Yeah, so you can ask us questions. You can say hi. We love to hear from you guys. Okay, let's go into the second marker to test for, and this is iron.
Yes, and I think we know that iron is involved with transporting, oxygen. This is how you're getting oxygen to your tissues.
Right.
Well, if your iron is low, if your hemoglobin is low, what researchers are finding is that in one particular study looking at over 300,000 men and women between the ages of 21 and 90.
It's a big population of people.
Which is great because you rarely see a 90-year-old in a clinical study.
Yeah, that's true too. That's right.
So that's one thing. But subjects who had iron deficiency anemia had an 82% higher odds of being diagnosed with hearing loss.
And that's just, okay, so they have anemia, the iron's low, oxygen levels are low. So it's just really related to that kind of blood flow, oxygenation, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, so and again, easy to test. Very simple. The third one is one that most people probably haven't heard of, right?
Haven't heard of, your doctor may not. Your doctor better know about aldosterone.
They just may not remember. Yeah, aldosterone. Tell us about this. This is a hormone, right?
Yeah, it's a hormone. It's involved with regulating a fluid balance in the body as well as blood pressure. And we're seeing some correlation studies in individuals who have low aldosterone levels. They have higher hearing loss.
Yeah, it's funny because when we were talking about this, you talked about it as an emerging therapy, and I still think it is. But I read a paper on this remember I told you many years ago. So I still think there's a lot of debate about its role and its relationship. Yeah. But again, it's simple to test.
Yes.
Right. And if that is low, that might be one of the reasons you're having some hearing issues. So those are the three markers that we think are the best ones, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So again, homocysteine, iron, and aldosterone. Okay, so now let's move on to, Dr. Mike, Dr. Crystal, I have a hearing issue.
Uh-oh.
Right? What can I start doing? What can I start taking? At the end of the day, people want to improve hearing and prevent more loss, right?
That's the key.
Yeah.
Improve if you can. But preventing the loss is what's most important. And preserving what you have.
Yeah, and I think this is where nutrients can play a big role.
Yes.
All right.
So vimpocetine. Vimpocetine is a compound that's found in the periwinkle plant, or it's produced from a compound found in the periwinkle plant, and it can help to improve blood flow to the brain. Because when you think about, remember that image in the graphic of the ear.
Yeah.
Those are nerves.
Right into the brain.
Sending that signal to your brain to tell you what you're hearing. So
Yeah.
you see the connection between blood flow in the central nervous system or just in general and helping with supporting hearing. So vimpocetine is beneficial with that.
Well, tested on patients with some hearing loss, the kind that's associated with aging, right? And it was 30 milligrams a day for 12 months, and the results significantly reduced the rate of deterioration and improved hearing capacity.
There you go. So it's not
Vimpocetine.
only decreasing loss, it's improving the hearing.
Right. Common nutrient in brain formulas.
Yes, you do see
Yeah.
it helping to help with clear thoughts.
That sounds nice. Sometimes we
Yes.
need that. All right, number 2, we've been talking about magnesium a lot lately.
All the time. Well, Dr. Mike,
You should.
next to fiber, magnesium is probably up there.
See, for me, it's magnesium first, then fiber. For you, it's
Got it
fiber,
all
then
wrong.
magnesium. All right, so magnesium probably related to circulation, right?
Well, related to circulation, but also related to helping to offset some of that damage to the hair cells. When those hair cells are activated and they become excited, we call that excitotoxicity. We typically think about glutamate. People
Yeah.
think about
Which is a
MSG.
neurotransmitter, right? Glutamate. Yeah.
that can cause cells to just almost short circuit.
Yeah.
Is kind of how I think of it. And so that happens to those hair cells, and the magnesium can offset
And so
that.
in that picture we had, those were the sad hair cells, right? The ones
Yes.
that were just they were limp, they were drooping. Yeah, those, believe it or not, are nerve cell endings that have been overexcited.
Now I'll tell you about the magnesium. It gets me really excited.
I don't know where she's going with this.
The studies with the military.
Oh, that's
recruits.
right. Yes, go through this.
Yes.
Go through this. This is
So
great.
there's a study when military recruits took 167 milligrams of magnesium daily for 2 months during basic training. The rate of substantial hearing damage was half that of the control group of soldiers.
Yeah, 167 milligrams, right? Magnesium.
Yes.
That's not a big dose.
Not that much.
I mean, I actually think that's kind of low.
I think it should be standard protocol for our soldiers.
Yes,
That's
and-
going out, basic training.
And I would say like 500 milligrams.
Yes.
I mean,
up it.
and that's going
them
to help
sleep well,
Yeah.
have good bowel movements.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and that's what you do with magnesium, because people often ask, well, you know, if I do too much, kind of hurts my bowels,
Yes.
loose stools. Well, that's why you just push it to where you have some of that, and then you.
Exactly.
That's what I did.
But yes, there are other studies, not just this one, looking in kind of in the military setting and reducing the frequency and the severity of hearing loss. So magnesium, put that on your list.
Yeah. And what? Now maybe we're going to go over this a little later. I can't remember, but wasn't it too that when you look at soldiers and the amount of sound, that decibel level that they're dealing with,
Yes.
skyrocket high, right?
Oh, it's crazy high. When we look at the normal levels, and I think we talked about this, around 65 is great, right?
65 decibels is a normal sound.
Yes,
Okay.
75, you're kind of pushing it, right? But
Yeah.
then when you start getting
It's 85 or so. What was that?
85, now you're suffering from hearing loss. Above that, it can be
It
painful
hurts
as well.
It hurts. Yeah.
So if you have ever been exposed to loud noise and it actually hurt your ears, that's
Yeah.
happened to me before. Just
It happened to me at a concert.
oh no.
Yeah, I couldn't. I did. I went to a concert years and years ago, and I couldn't hear for a while.
Did you have the ringing in your
Everything,
ears?
yeah. It was hurt and it rang.
Oh.
So again, those are high decibels, and the soldiers are really exposed to it. The reason we're bringing this up, if soldiers are exposed to that high level and a little bit of magnesium helped, it's going to help us because we're not on a daily basis exposed to that much noise.
Not that much, but we're exposed to more than we probably think we're exposed to. Especially
yeah.
industrial workers. If you live in the big city, New York
Oh,
City.
no, it's so loud.
It's so loud.
Sirens
you're
and
walking.
horns and-
You're trying to just get to work, get to your subway,
lot.
and it's a lot for your ears. So really what you should do is wear earplugs, not so much where you can't hear someone saying something to you. Hey, get out of the way. You need to hear that. Yeah. But just something to kind of muffle that sound.
Yeah, it's, kind of calm down that background noise.
Right.
Because what's happening is it's always normal to have some background noise, but with how we manage our cities and cars and everything, our background noise, even in suburbia now, is too high.
Yes.
Yeah. So when we want to bring down that background noise, that's magnesium. So another one, this is a big nutrient we've been talking about, and this is NAC, or N-acetylcysteine.
N-acetylcysteine. This is a hot nutrient
it's
now.
hot, yeah.
It's all over the place. And why it's so hot is that it provides antioxidant protection. It actually helps to increase glutathione, which is one of the body's most important internally produced antioxidants. Yeah. So NAC, in this one study looking at the different decibels, the military recruits, the industrial noise, they gave the participants 1,200 milligrams daily for 2 weeks.
And again, this was military as high as 165 decibels. I mean, that's crazy. And the industrial noise was at 89 decibels. But it doesn't. You fall into any of those categories. That's hearing problems, and that's painful.
Yes, and we have a question from Jan.
Awesome.
Jan, thanks for watching. And it looks like Chance is in the background, and it looks like he answered one of your questions. But yes, the question is, is some hearing loss recoverable? And yes, what our technicians, our social media techs wrote in the chat, yes, that is what we're seeing with the research with the vimpocetine in particular, has been shown to help to reverse some of that. Now, Pierce Moore Jr. asks, will ringing in the ears lead to hearing loss? What do you think about that, Dr. Mike?
So this is tinnitus or tinnitus, however you want to say it. And there may be a weak association between that and some permanent hearing loss down the line, but for the most part, thank God for most people that does clear over time, or they go through bouts of it, and it doesn't seem to be associated with any major loss of hearing.
Okay, and then we have one more question, which I think is great. Denise asks, what kind of magnesium is best?
Oh, good question. That's a whole show.
It's a whole show. I'll give you my take, Dr. Mike, and I would love to hear yours.
Okay.
Considering we're talking hearing, brain, nervous system, I think magnesium L-threonate is the best form. We know that form can cross into the blood-brain barrier. It can help to support nerve health. What do you think?
No, you're right on. So that it's the brain magnesium. It's the brain cell nerve magnesium, if you will, right? So magnesium threonate would be the top choice here for sure.
Okay, I think we covered them.
All right, so that's vimpocetine, magnesium, and N-acetylcysteine. Now, let's talk about, how do I know if I'm at risk? Right?
Besides someone telling you?
Besides someone going into, telling my doctor, he can't hear nothing. No, how do we know? Now, obviously, I think at some level, in today's world, if you're living in a city, suburbia, we're all at some risk. It's just noisy. Yeah. Life is noisy nowadays.
And now the headphones that everyone's wearing.
The Bluetooth stuff. I mean.
Oh, yes, just the phone calls. Everyone's using the Bluetooth stuck in their ear.
That stuff's right in your ear. I know I have friends, and my own son, he gets it in there, and you can hear the music play. I mean, I can listen to the music, and I don't even have it in my ears.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so we all are at some level at some risk for hearing issues. But you came up with some questions.
Yes, these are questions to ask yourself.
Okay.
So if we can put that graphic up, and we can just go through these questions.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. If you answer yes to one or more of these questions, you are considered at risk for hearing loss and should get an evaluation.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay?
Okay.
1, do you notice ringing in your ears for hours or 24 hours after sound exposure?
Now, that's not the tinnitus or the tinnitus, right? That's different. This is a sound exposure that caused a ringing.
Right. This wouldn't necessarily be chronic.
Right. This is that concert I went to.
Yes.
And the
where
ringing.
the ringing is there.
Right.
That eventually goes away, but you notice that it lasts, for up to 24 hours.
Some damage could have happened too, right? That I could
Maybe
still be
so.
dealing with. I don't know. Okay, let's go to number 2.
Do your ears sometimes feel full or stopped up?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's normal you clean your ears, do it in the right way.
It's not your allergies, right?
Yeah, well, you got to be, because that could be other things, right? That could be other things. She says that because it's a bad pollen day today, and I'm a little stuffed up,
So, but if it's happening on a regular basis, again, these are the points to make you just pause.
Here's how I would take number 2. You clean your ears. Your doctor cleans your ears, and 2 days later, you still feel it's stopped up. It's full. That would tell us maybe there's some damage going on. Okay. All right. Number 3.
Do voices sound muffled after you've been around music for an extended time?
I don't know.
Means your music was too loud.
Yeah, years ago for me, this is for, especially some of the younger kids today, some of the younger generation. That could be a big one for people.
I think so. 4, does music sound distorted toward the end of the day? This is just in general.
Yeah.
So the day's over, maybe you're driving to a dinner in your car.
I'm okay there.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I drive home after work and I listen to I'm okay.
Okay. And 5, do you have difficulty listening to the radio or in noisy or group settings? So you're in a group setting and
for sure. That's been absolutely for sure. I have found it harder. Why do we keep talking about me? And I've noticed that in other shows.
Oh, you talked about me last week with Superwoman and energy.
In a nice way.
Okay.
But see, now I forgot what I was talking about.
Oh, no, in the noisy setting.
Yeah, in group situations, I have found that if I'm talking, like let's say you and I are talking and there's other people talking here, I have to really concentrate.
You learn how to
I
read
have
lips?
to, not that, I just have to really listen. Whereas when I was younger, you didn't have to do that, right? You know what I mean?
You're getting old, Dr. Mike.
But maybe it's a good thing. I'm actually listening.
Well, that is true. So take your magnesium.
Yes.
See your vimpocetine, your NAC.
Yeah.
That's what I'm writing out for you.
I take two out of those 3 I take already.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe that's why it's not so bad.
Did we do all 5? Was that the last one?
We did all 5.
All right. So if you answered yes to one or more of these questions, you could be at risk. Talk to your doctor. Get an exam.
Just do it. They do it at some of the grocery stores now.
What about don't you remember? I don't know. When I was a kid, we used to have the sounds. You'd put the headset on. They would do these different sounds. Did you ever do that?
No.
See, they don't do that anymore. Robson, you're close to mine. Did you go through that?
That was before my time, Dr. Mike.
And whenever you heard the sound, in what ear is the hand you rose? Remember that, Robson?
Yeah.
It'd be like, doop.
Oh, you know what? I did that at a health fair here at Life Extension.
Okay,
so talk to your employer.
Yeah.
Say, hey, bring in someone.
Some hearing preservation 101, very basic stuff. Obviously, avoid prolonged, loud noises, right?
Yes.
I mean, let's be honest. You can't have a Bluetooth thing in your ear blaring music all day.
Or the cars that have the boom.
The bass. That's called a bass.
Oh,
It's called a bass. Poor Chris.
oh, he's hip. He knows what it is.
I
Okay.
know, that's not true.
Don't do that. If you or someone you know or your child wants to put one of those big speakers in their cars, just tell them
don't
no.
do that. Yeah, okay. And hey, if you want to go to a concert, maybe you don't have to sit up right where the big speakers are.
Or bring ear protection.
Back it up. Sit a little farther away. Okay, anyways, wear ear protection, right? That was one we had. And then overall, don't play music too loud. So we have a great protocol on this.
We do. Lifeextension.com/hearing.
And again, our shows really just touch on a lot of the important stuff about, in this case, hearing loss. There's a lot more research.
Yes, Pierce, if you go to that protocol, lifeextension.com/hearing, it will touch on the ringing in your ears.
Yeah. All right. Excellent show, Dr. Crystal. Thanks for joining me today. Thank you for watching. We appreciate the questions. Don't forget, like, share, comment. We love to hear from you. And don't forget, every Wednesday, we're going live at 3 o'clock. I'm Dr. Mike. Thanks for watching.